This is Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro. From the corporate office to the cab of a truck, they're here to inspire and empower women in all professions. So gear down, sit back, and enjoy.
Welcome. We're an award-winning show dedicated to empowering women in every profession through inspiring stories and expert insights. No topic is off limits on our show. We power women on the road to success with expert and celebrity interviews and information you need. I'm Shelley.
And I'm Kathy.
Wouldn't it be great to know how to gain an edge in the business world to achieve your goals? How about thinking with a mental toughness where you don't get distracted like an Olympic athlete? Emme is a former Olympics Archery Coach and business strategist who gives people unparalleled insights on how to stay laser-focused with a mental toughness that builds confidence to be the very best. Emme knows how to keep her eye on the bullseye. She's worked with MLB pitchers, professional poker players, and business professionals on how to be their very best and win. Her guidance helps her clients grab the champion mindset to help them reach global success. We have the honor of having Emme on our show to talk about the tools you need to go above and beyond what you ever thought possible. Welcome, Emme. Thank you so much for being on the show with us.
Wow, ladies, it is such an honor. I truly, really, from the bottom of my heart, hugging you and thanking you for this opportunity and for you putting this show out, because I know it takes a lot of work and dedication. And thank you for being there for all of us women to really keep us on target for success, right?
Well,
thank you. Welcome to the show. Wow.
Yes. Thank you, Emme. This is going to be a great interview. You got some awesome perspectives. You bring some powerful insights into what you learned as a trainer at the world's largest archery training center. You teach resilience, focus, and the pursuit of excellence. Can you give us a brief summary of your background? I know that's going to be super interesting. How did all of this start?
Wow. I kind of live by the motto, it's like you make a plan and then God laughs. You never think about, like, you can know the direction that you want to go, right? Like if we say we want to make an Olympic team and we think, wow, we want to win a gold medal. We want to be the best in the world. We can put that out there, right? And then how many people actually do? But that's what I learned with coaching the top athletes in the world, is the dedication that it takes and having that plan, and then not really allowing the disappointment to come in if you don't win the gold medal always, because, right, the journey and the pressure and the skills and all the blessings that come along with trying to execute that plan are really the gold medals along the way. So we're always focused on what was good about it and where can I improve. And that was, like, I think going back to my childhood, I was blessed to have a German grandfather that always told the truth, because he toughened you up and helped you not take things personal. Like if you'd say, Grandpa, do you like my dress that I want to wear to the prom? He'd say, no. So then you had a decision in that moment. Well, do I like it enough to wear it? He would say, I'm not wearing it. And if you want me to tell you the truth, then ask me. So there was something so beautiful in the honesty and the authenticity with which he always gave an answer. And I have used that as a guide in everything that I've done, is like, if there's somebody out there that's living a life that I would like to aim towards, I need to ask them, if the quality of my life is determined by the quality of my questions and the quality of people that I surround myself with, then I have to ask myself, who do I want to become? What impact do I want to make? How do I want to do it along the way? And then find those people to surround myself with that will be honest when I'm messing up and love me enough to tell me the truth, right? And then I feel like I have to be that person too that doesn't sugarcoat things, but cares enough to be authentically true to the people that ask me for my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of times people are afraid to ask because they don't want rejection. They don't necessarily want to hear. They don't want to always hear where they need to improve. But you're right. The honesty, we can't improve until somebody tells us, hey, this is what I'm seeing. And maybe it depends, too, on the person and their response. I mean, there's a way to tell someone kindly
Yeah, without like saying, "Oh my God."
Yeah, you don't want to say, "Hey, you really sucked," you know?
Well, right. And I think that my grandfather, what was really powerful in learning from him was that you could ask in a question, well, why do you want my opinion? What is it that you're really searching for? Because if I'd say, Grandpa, do you like this dress? And he'd say, well, why are you asking me? And then you had to think about, well, am I trying to get his approval? Why am I asking him? Because can I be strong enough to get a dress that I like? Because as women, one thing that I noticed with the difference between coaching women and men was that men will often go for it way more. Women aren't conditioned to do that, right? They're more conditioned to just in the past, I say we're getting better because we're learning all the time and improving, being in a more equal world. But I can't even remember what percentage it is, but a woman will not usually go for the highest salary when asked, "What is your salary?" Well, men always go for it, even if they're not qualified for it. A woman will be honest with her qualifications, way over, way more over than what a man will do. And when Grandpa would, the biggest gift I think is, and that was how I learned to be a hypnotist, is I learned how to reframe what he would say for my benefit. So I learned how to not take things personal, but say, what does he really mean with those words? Or what do I want those words to mean? Right? What Grandpa says, will you kids go play on the highway? I could say, well, he wants me to die. Or I could say like, oh, Grandpa really needs some quiet time and he's just joking with me. So that power of choice in defining what the words meant that I chose to take on was such a gift.
And I think
people, I was going to say, people with low self-esteem would take the other route. You know what I mean? They would, it is a choice. People who aren't feeling good about themselves would view the more negative side to that sentiment.
Yeah.
Right. The perception. And that's why I love teaching what I do, because you're right. You know how you can see that in families, you'll have the exact same siblings and one will think their mom was great and one will think their mom was horrible. And the mom taught the exact same way, but exactly what you're describing there, their perception of what the words meant or how they were feeling about themselves at the time.
And depending on how we're raised is how we interpret things from other people in the adult world.
Yes. And even though what was always interesting to me, even with my athletes, was it's not always how they're raised, but their perception, because like they could be raised exactly the same. And if you have a sensitive kid, right? Because when you're coaching, some kids perform better with a drill sergeant approach, right? Where you're like, come on, you can't do this, the negative approach, and other kids need the build-up approach. So each person learns differently. And as a good coach or as a strategist, it's our responsibility as the communicator that wants to bring out the best in our athlete or in the person we're coaching with or in the business. As a leader and as the communicator, we have got to study the audience, or we have got to study the student, so that we can learn their response method. And then it's up to us in our delivery, like you were talking about earlier. If we really want to be effective, then it's our responsibility to set the outcome, observe the person that we are communicating with, and reach them in the way that they learn best.
Would you say that women have a tendency to always seek approval from other people rather than trying to find the approval within themselves?
It's more so. And that's because culturally it's even different, because like I've grown companies all over the world. So even if we're only talking about the United States, or you can even talk about the southern United States versus the northern United States. So it's not only culturally, then it's regionally, and then it's like independently. So it's so interesting because there are still very few cultures, right, where they're matriarchs and where the women are actually, in fact, I was just watching a little documentary about this one country in Tibet, and the lady had 2 husbands, and she's like, it's a matriarch, I'm the queen of the castle. And I thought, wow, that's so interesting. So her approach was much different. She wasn't asking for anybody's approval. Her approach was, they're lucky that they have me. And I thought, wow, how do we create that? Not that they're lucky, but that we're equal, and that we don't, that's what I was telling you Grappo did for me, is that I don't need approval, right? He
Mhm.
strengthened that in, why are you asking me? So, and I agree with you, women are so conditioned to be servers and to be the gatherers and to bring everybody together in peace. And because just biologically, we are not as strong, right? The number one danger to a female in the world is a man.
Yeah.
Men kill more women than anything else, right? That's the
Yeah.
number one danger to us. So the benefit of having your girlfriends and being in group is you have the protection of the group. And so a lot of times the mindset is, how do I keep peace within the group? Don't want to lose the safety of the group.
Sure.
It took me till I was 40 before I could realize that I didn't need to rely on other people's opinions, that I could oh my God, till I was 40. And I had to learn, I
Wow.
had to ask my counselor back in the day, what the word boundaries meant and
Aw.
what codependency meant. I had no clue,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And once I
And
got it though, I'm like, oh my God.
what was your breakthrough moment? I'm just curious because I think that's very interesting for a lot of people.
Well, it was an EMDR treatment. I had a lifetime of trauma and extreme abuse. And so when I finally went to treatment, I had it was a trial session, EMDR, it's eye movement
Yeah.
desensitization. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was during one of those sessions that it just clicked. She was asking me about when I was feeling where I felt unworthy. And that was from child
Beautiful.
sexual abuse. And then she asked me where I started feeling worthy, and I was about to say never. And
Aw.
I got a flash flood of images of where God has been in my life, and just I'm like, oh my goodness, God thinks I'm worthy. It doesn't matter what man thinks or his opinions or anything. And
Oh,
from that
so
moment
good.
forward, from that moment, I've been fine. And
That's
sure, I'll ask,
fantastic.
like my spouse, like, what do you think? And it's great, but I don't base my judgments and my decisions on what other people think.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yay.
powerful. Yes.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
There's hope.
Absolutely.
Well, that was a book changed it for me. But way back when, like I said, Grandpa was this great toughness teacher, right? Mental toughness teacher. But then I had have you guys read The Four Agreements? I would highly recommend that
No, have
book. And
not. I'll
oh
write
my
that
goodness.
down.
Yes. And share. So basically it's Toltec wisdom. And one of the four agreements are: number one, take nothing personal. Number two, always do your best. Number three, be impeccable with your word. And number four, assume nothing. And the cool thing about, sports, I think that's really good growing up, is you learn how to be coachable, because you have to, like what you were saying earlier, Kathy, like no one realizes a dream without the team, because we can't learn. We can read so much in a book, but without experiential learning, we're not really going to fully grasp it. And when you have a team that's depending on you, or like as you become a mother, you have a child depending on you, you get into a whole new level and a new psyche and a new skills that bring out a side of you that is so beautiful, because then you're into contribution.
Yeah.
Before it's just me. But it was women when we're as archery. I have so many archery references, but it's like, where focus goes, energy flows, and results show. So the number one thing I always ask my women, if they aren't financially free, then I have real concerns, because then that puts them at a disadvantage. Then they have to be dependent on someone. So my first goal is to help every woman realize her potential, then package it into a business and monetize it to get them to that financial level of independence. And then you just see confidence also go through the roof. But it's always like, well, what are you focused on? Are you focused on you're not good enough? Are you focused on what's one good thing that you did do? Right? Because when we're coaching for archery, we're like, okay, they shoot one arrow. It's like, okay, what was good about that arrow, and where do I want to improve? So there's never time to say, oh, I screwed up, because you can always find something good in it and where you want to improve.
Sure. That makes sense. And Amy, what you're talking about in terms of other people's approval, you're trying to instill that kind of confidence and approval within a person. Because when you think about it, if you're always seeking someone else's approval, they can use that as a power trip. They can leverage that. They have the advantage, because they can mislead you and say, oh, you sucked, when in fact you were marvelous.
That's why it's so great, because other people's opinions of us are none of our business, right?
Mm-hmm. Amen
Yeah.
to that. And when you look at social media, we're not getting that message. Everybody wants that like me, love me, love me. So everyone's seeking approval. It's kind of counterproductive, and it's counterintuitive to the success formula that you've got.
Well, yes, and yes, if you think of it that way, I totally agree with you. If we're looking for someone's approval, but that's where I teach my women in business. Like, you're never coming from desperation for likes. You're coming from inspiration in a place of just sharing unconditionally.
Mm-hmm.
You're not sharing because you even care. If it makes a difference in one person's life, you share because you're prompted to share. You share because it's your heart and your talents and your love for the life that you've been gifted. It's just purely like each one of us has this unique gifting. My gifting happens to be, I've been growing companies all over the world since I was 22. It was like my undergrad was biochemistry. I wanted to be a doctor, took a detour and was like, where did my family come from? In Germany, landed in Germany, one blessing after another. Got into a job where all they did was take small to medium startups and take them global. And I was an intern there. So I learned from the best in the world
Wow.
on how to grow companies. And that was just a God thing. I can't, that wasn't, I tell you, I had a plan to be a doctor, end up getting into international business. So always with the same heart, though, that like, how can my skills help somebody become healthier mentally, physically, emotionally, financially? And so learning those business skills, coming home, meeting my husband, and he was an archer. And I'm like, well, I know business, archery. Why don't we create an archery business? And that was a challenge in and of itself. But we grew it to the largest in the world in 5 years. And I said that we would.
That's amazing.
But I didn't.
Wow.
It was a blessing. Yeah, it was really amazing. I didn't know anything about archery when we started. And there wasn't YouTube back then. And, I was like, we need to have kids classes. We need to bring women in here. Rah, rah, rah. It was just a bunch of hunters and, And so I ended up coaching like 160 kids on a Tuesday night. Sometimes I'd drive them in 2 hours. We had a junior Olympic archery development program. I coached 2 collegiate teams. I coached was U.S. national coach, but not because I ever thought, oh, I want to coach archery. I thought, how can I help these kids realize that they were born valuable? God gave me a bow and arrow. My husband lost his job. I was pregnant with our second child. He gave me the gift of being able to grow companies. And I just poured into these kids. I was like, what can I learn to help them learn one more thing next week? And when you're just dedicated to improving every life around you, you're going to naturally grow, right? And that just took me all the way to the highest level. And that's just why when I'm working with my women in business, I'm like, okay, you have specific wisdom in you. And my gift is to be able to look at you. I don't know why it happens. It just clicks. It's just my gift. I can package 5 businesses, I'm telling you, just out of different people's wisdom. Because that wisdom, we used to share it in storytelling in different ways. We would pass it on to the next generations, and now we kind of don't. And so now I'm like, no, but we must. So I'll take, like, even if it's closet organization, like one of my ladies, I helped reframe her as a vital biologist. Another one is a sound bowl healer. Another one is a drumming instructor. Like, and these were just hobbies that they had. And they're now teaching courses and making impact across the world with their giftings and getting paid for it.
That's
and
huge.
That is my passion. That is my passion, right?
Stay tuned for more of Women Road Warriors coming up.
Dean Michael, the tax doctor here. I have one question for you. Do you want to stop worrying about the IRS? If the answer is yes, then look no further. I've been around for years. I've helped countless people across the country, and my success rate speaks for itself. So now you know where to find good, honest help with your tax problems. What are you waiting for? If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or haven't filed in years, call me now at 888-557-4020 or go to mytaxhelpmd.com for a free consultation and get your life back.
Industry movement Trucking Moves America Forward is telling the story of the industry. Our safety champions, the women of trucking, independent contractors, the next generation of truckers, and more. Help us promote the best of our industry. Share your story and what you love about trucking. Share images of a moment you're proud of. And join us on social media. Learn more at truckingmovesamerica.com.
Welcome back to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro.
If you're enjoying this informative episode of Women Road Warriors, I wanted to mention Kathy and I explore all kinds of topics that will power you on the road to success. We feature a lot of expert interviews. Plus, we feature celebrities and women who've been trailblazers. Please check out our podcast at womenroadwarriors.com and click on our episodes page. We're also available wherever you listen to podcasts, on all the major podcast channels like Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Amazon Music, Audible, you name it. Check us out and bookmark our podcast. Also, don't forget to follow us on social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, YouTube, and other sites. And tell others about us. We want to help as many women as possible. Succeeding requires a plan and a strong strategy. The journey and the pressure and the skills that come along with executing our plans are the real gold medals along the way. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your questions, and you need to ask yourself, who do you want to become? What impact do you want to make? How do you want to do it? And then find those people you want to surround yourself with who'll be authentically true when you're messing up and don't sugarcoat things. They give honest observations so you could be your best self. Too often women want to seek approval and are afraid to ask for feedback. They rely on outside approval rather than finding that approval within themselves. Emme is a business strategist who's taught Olympic athletes and many successful business owners. She's talking about mindsets and strategies to keep us focused to win and succeed no matter what by finding and nurturing our real strengths and goals and maintaining a laser focus. As she says, where focus goes, energy flows, and results show. It's a matter of tapping into our own powerful wisdom. Emme, so you really can find the attributes of a person. And I think because we're taught to maybe downplay our abilities, a lot of times we don't know where our strengths are. And you're able to really define that for the person and say, hey, have you ever thought about doing this? Because you're really awesome in this particular area.
It's every day. In fact, I had a wellness center as well, because when my husband decided, he found a girlfriend, which is great because they're great together. They're actually better than we were. However, I found myself as a single mom, and like in a state, I had no family, I had nothing. And like, is this really my life? And the career that I had required me to travel, and I couldn't travel. I was like actually speaking all over the US and doing like sales from the stage. I was like the only girl out there, right? And so I had to stop my career. And I found myself, he took all the money out of the account. Actually, I was gone at my friend's, and he moved everything out of our house. It was a whole, it was a blast. I mean, now it's a blessing. My dad said, just pretend it's like a tornado and rebuild. And so, it was really scary, and it was an interesting time, but I found myself like, what am I going to do? I have to reinvent myself now. This dream career that I was finally just getting a hold of, everything stopped. And that's when I like, okay, what do you know? Well, I was a hypnotist. I'd used hypnosis. I'd used neurolinguistic programming in our athletes. And in fact, the head coach told me, Emme, you're doing great. What are you doing? I want to see what you're doing with your athletes. And I had done so much visualization and hypnosis, and, would only let them speak into existence what they wanted to create and who they were. And I would like never stop with them, always like, reframe. You're better than that. You're more than that. You can, right? What do you want? Tell me what you want. And so then I started a little wellness center and would see 8 to 10 people a day and coach them like in hypnosis and neurolinguistic programming to help them like overcome divorce, overcome sexual traumas, overcome financial loss, overcome, loss of family, loss, trauma, loss, trauma. And there was just these cores that would remain, that everybody just needs to believe that they were born valuable, that they have gifts that nobody else has, packaged in the beautiful life experience that only they have had to reach only a specific audience that's made for them. So when your test becomes your testimonies, your pain becomes your gain, right? That is what life is all about, is to take those traumas, and they're no longer dramas, right? But you turn them into these beautiful blessings. And yes, that was like my innate gift. Like I could spend not even 10 minutes with you, and I have this little process to take you through, and I can already be like, oh, we could do this as a business, and this is a business. So last year I was like, I want to go completely online because I'm limited when I'm in one spot. I want to be able to reach women all over the world and help them become free and understand what their gifts are, learn how to monetize them, and then pay it forward and teach other women. And that's when we started Wisdom Conversion Blueprint. That's when we started On Target for Success. And that's what we've been doing and tearing it up. And it's such a blessing every day to see these women grow in their confidence and their business skills. And it's so cool. So I'm living the dream now, baby, living the dream.
Oh, and you're helping other people live the dream too. Bravo, Amy. This is terrific.
Fabulous.
And you work with all kinds of people.
Yes.
On how to be their best and win. Your website says embrace precision and passion. That's powerful.
Focus is your superpower.
Focus, yes, and getting mentally tough. Can you kind of give us maybe some nuggets of what are some of the fundamentals people really need to grasp so they can be their best and accomplish what they're here to do?
It's very simple. We are experts at making it complicated. Because as your emotions go up, your intelligence goes down. So it's really about...
Oh, that's powerful. Is that the truth?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I've had my brain walk away more than once when I've gotten emotional.
Yeah, happy or angry or sad, right? Because like, how many women always tease them? I'm like, yeah, when you're on a date, I'm like, were you in your feels or were you in the facts? Like, how many times has he been married? Does he have a record? I know he's hot and the hair coming out of the, unbuttoned shirt, being all Tom Selleck-y and everything like that. Let's come back to earth now and look at the facts, not the feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And, so it's really, and by nature, right, we're more hormonal and so we have to master the skill even more than men. And so when we're in those facts, not feelings, where focus is our superpower, you just say, okay, what do I want? How can I have a better feeling in this moment? Right? It's just asking the quality. I keep saying this, the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your questions, because your questions hook your mind. So if you can make your arm like in a half circle and then put your fingers on one side of your head into your ear, and then like it's a question mark, hooking your head over to the side. If you can picture that, like, remember when they used to take the canes and pull the people off stage? And so make a big question mark with your arm and then hook your head and be like, okay, questions hook my mind, because they hook your subconscious into taking action. So if you can ask yourself a better feeling question, you will always get to a better feeling state. And like, if you're like, okay, so if I just asked you, tell me what you want in this moment. What is it that you want?
Are you asking us?
But just and everybody just notice. You don't have to share, but like, if I ask you, tell me what you want and what do you want to feel in this moment? Notice what comes up for you. Isn't it powerful how just by asking that question, it pauses you a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And in that stillness, you get the answer. Like, I want to feel more happy. I want to feel more abundant. I want to feel more at ease, or I want to, or say, what do I want to focus on right now in this moment? So I have a couple questions, right? And gratitude is the other. When I get out of bed in the morning, I'm like, okay, today is a day filled of opportunities and possibilities. And, I'm going to seize each and every one of them. And before I go to the bathroom, I have what I call is my thank you dance, my thank you walk. So when I put my left foot down, I'm like, thank. And before I take the next step, I'm like, what am I grateful for? Usually, depending on how much I have to go to the bathroom, I'm like, thank you. Thank for my legs, you for my short distance to the bathroom. And then, so you're like, thank. And then you think of one thing you're grateful for. The next step, you say you with your other foot. And then you think of another thing you're grateful for. So your first couple steps start you out in gratitude. And then you have a magical day right there.
Gratitude is a positive emotion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's a positive, a positive focuser, because focus is your superpower. Finding our center under stress. That's an acronym I made up for focus. Finding our center under stress. So it's like, okay, what do I choose to focus on at this moment? And then it will come for you. Do I choose on how bad I just did that shot, or do I choose on what did I do good and where do I want to improve? Because then you're always focused on improving.
And I would think that it would keep the negative thoughts that can just kind of creep in saying, oh, you can't do this, that sort of thing.
Right?
It keeps that away. It's kind of like a big fly
Absolutely.
swatter hitting those thoughts. It's like, no,
Mm.
get away,
Mhm.
get away.
And when you practice it, it's amazing. Like even with my women in business, like a lot of times, they had never done sales before. And I'm like, yes, you have. People always say, well, I'm not good at sales. I'm like, yes, you are. Have you ever persuaded somebody to help you with the dishes? We're
Yeah.
born as influencers, as children.
Oh,
We
yeah.
have to manipulate our
Mhm.
parents for
Oh, yeah.
survival.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that skill, right? It's in all of us. But I'm always like, well, what are you focused on? Are you focused on getting the sale or are you focused on serving the person? Because when you take the focus off of desperation and you move into inspiration, there's a natural shift and people want to do business with you because they know that you believe in what you're doing and you're there to serve as a giver versus, quote, make the sale and take,
Right.
right? As a taker. So staying in that grounded heart space, you will do an assumptive sale and close every single time.
Mm-hmm.
That's really fun too.
That perspective makes sense because people will gravitate towards you. I mean, I'm trying to think of an example here. You go into a furniture store and it's all of a sudden, it's like if you don't have a salesperson that's assigned to you, they're coming out of every corner of the store. You want to run away. It's like, oh no, it's the zombies. They're coming after me,
Mm-hmm.
And that puts the salesperson in a very negative place to be, a negative light for the potential sale. If you come to the person as a giver, you're not going to be taking their money. You're going to be helping them and give them some space. Then they might buy something. I know that's been my personal experience. It's like, don't follow me around. Let me just look, please.
And everyone's different, right? You got to. That's where I was talking about earlier. Is you've got to read how are they perceiving the room? How are they perceiving the experience?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you're there serving them, and if you're making them uncomfortable, that's not serving them. Just like love, if someone that you love is sick, when you're getting to know them, you have to say, well, when you're sick, how would you like things? Would you like me to bring you chicken noodle soup or tomato soup? Because when I was sick, my mom brought me tomato soup and grilled cheese, but I don't want to assume that that's what you love. What do you like when you're sick? So you're always genuinely asking someone to teach you who they are so that you can
Mm-hmm.
serve them in the way they need to be served. And you can't, coming back to the 4 agreements, you can't assume just because you like that they're going to like that.
So you're always thinking about the other person. That's a good
Always.
thing. Yeah.
Yes. In all my women, I'm like, they'll tell you all the coaching classes that I've done, all the wisdom conversion courses and things like that. I will lay awake in bed at night inspired, and I'll be like, wow, they're getting it. And I'll be like, oh, wait, I could do this with their business. I could show them this, and they could add on, this is a value add to help people. And, this would add another $100,000 to their bottom line. Or, oh, we could do this, and this will help them make a greater impact and probably reach another 250,000 women whose lives they can change. Or if we just tweak this. And that just happens for me naturally because I love business and I love helping women. Like I said, when you change a mom, you change a family
Oh, yeah.
because
Oh
she
yeah,
raises that
100%.
standard,
Yep.
right, for all her
Yep.
kids. And the guys, women didn't want to have these roles. It's that the men left them no choice. When they became the single moms, a lot of women, they had to survive for their kids.
Yep.
And that's why they had to become tougher. They had to do these things and fight, and they had to step into their masculine energy. It wasn't by choice, it was by survival.
Yeah.
And when they learn how to develop these skills, then they can step back into their feminine energy and be more imbalanced because we don't come here to push, we're more flirty, fun, light, gatherers. Like we like to hang around with our girls and talk and do it together. We're more of a group approach. But that woman that has to stay in that masculine energy, that will age her. That will beat her up. And
Mhm.
so once you learn how to play in the group setting, that's why I prefer to even teach group classes because you have an accountability buddy, you have somebody to bounce things off with, you have the support where every woman's, protected, loved, heard, and respected. And it's beautiful what happens.
There's a lot of masculine energy in corporations today.
Yeah.
And what you're talking about, women having to basically act like a guy, and it doesn't fit. And a lot of times it comes off very aggressive, very
Yes.
patronizing, condescending, and that doesn't get the best out of people. People respond to someone who's pulling them, not pushing them.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, that's like, I just say, like, call it inspiration instead of desperation. Like, are you inspired in your life that you're creating? And yes, and some women, they don't even know that they have a choice. Like you were talking about earlier, you didn't know, Kathy, I think till you're 40, right? That you even had a choice that you could draw boundaries. Or I had this one guy, because I've always been a consultant for different companies. And one time I was actually helping his company get ISO certified, and I was on a Zoom call. I just told this story the other night. I was on the Zoom call with a woman who was going to help him get his company certified, and she was the one that I was corresponding with. And he came in my office and he started yelling at me. And I was like, a minute, and I was like, what is this dude doing yelling at me? And even the lady, right, that I was on the Zoom call with perceived that. She's like, do you want to handle that? I'm like, just a minute. And he's like, well, I'm the CEO of this company and I needed I said, and I'm trying to get your company ISO certified. And I'm like, excuse me. He's like, well, you work for me. And I said, no. I don't work for anyone. I choose who I will work with. I have one boss, and he spells his name God. And so you need to step out right now.
Amen.
Amen to that.
And he just looked at me, and that's where I walk. Because if somebody's going to tread on my spirit, then that's my sign of, like, either he needs a lesson or I need to exit. And I will always be provided for. And that is, like, if I could say that over and over and over again, right? And sometimes it was one of those moments where you're like, where did those words come from? I was just channeled. But even the lady in the Zoom was like, thank you for handling that, And I was like, yeah, my apologies. I was embarrassed for her that she had to witness another woman be talked like that, because he didn't ever talk to me like that, right? And so if there's one thing also that, like, with women, I'm like, you are never forced to work in a place you just don't know that you're not. That the moment you stand up for yourself, the doors everywhere else will fly open. But it's the universe saying, how much are you going to love yourself? I'm going to keep giving you opportunities. I'm going to keep giving you opportunities. And either you're going to seize them and step up, or you're just going to go until, like, you get hurt or you get sick or you get what? Because one way or another, you're going to learn that you were born valuable.
That's so important, because I think a lot of times women don't feel that they're valuable. They don't see their value because of the messages that they've gotten. And what you're doing is providing the inward perspective so they can really, really look at their value intrinsically and focus. That's kind of what I was hoping maybe you could give our listeners just a few little nuggets here on where they can maybe start to get that mental toughness to win and laser focus and basically be like Teflon when people are trying to throw rocks at them. But before we do that, I want you to hold that thought, because we do have to go to break, but I want to indulge your wisdom and knowledge as soon as we come back. Your insight is absolutely terrific, Amy.
Stay tuned for more of Women Road Warriors coming up.
Dean Michael, the tax doctor here. I have one question for you. Do you want to stop worrying about the IRS? If the answer is yes, then look no further. I've been around for years. I've helped countless people across the country, and my success rate speaks for itself. So now you know where to find good, honest help with your tax problems. What are you waiting for? If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or haven't filed in years, call me now at 888-557-4020 or go to mytaxhelpmd.com for a free consultation and get your life back.
Industry movement Trucking Moves America Forward is telling the story of the industry. Our safety champions, the women of trucking, independent contractors, the next generation of truckers, and more. Help us promote the best of our industry. Share your story and what you love about trucking. Share images of a moment you're proud of. And join us on social media. Learn more at truckingmovesamerica.com.
Welcome back to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro.
Emme had to reinvent herself after a bitter divorce. She turned obstacles into opportunities and is showing other people how to do that too. She began a wellness center to overcome financial or family loss and trauma. She taught that pain becomes your gain. You can turn traumas into blessings. And she has a process to identify a person's strengths. Emme is the founder of Emme, the Success Coach. She's helped everyone from Olympic athletes, poker players, and business owners achieve their dreams. She's now taken her consultancy online and wants to help women around the world discover their gifts, monetize them, and pay it forward. That's how the Wisdom Conversion Blueprint was born. Emme brings out people's inner wisdom and strengths. One of her mottos is embrace precision and passion. She also says focus is our superpower. Her acronym for focus is finding our center under stress. That's powerful. Take your opportunities and seize them, and step up because you were born valuable. Emme, before we went to break, you were going to share some golden nuggets with our listeners on how they can find their value and how they can succeed, especially when we're dealing with other people.
Yeah. First, ask yourself, am I taking this personally? Am I having a reaction to what they said, or am I able to respond with love? Because if somebody's trying to give you, no matter what someone says to you, like I was going back to grandpa, you have the ability, the words only have the meaning that you assign to them. So the first step is what meaning am I giving to these words? Whatever, if grandpa says, go play on the highway, right? Like you're saying, my cousin could have got crushed. He doesn't love us. And I could be like, no, come on. He totally loves us, because we had two different meanings that we were assigning to those words. I said, he just needs to be quiet right now because he's feeling overwhelmed. And he doesn't know how to say, I love you. Can you guys go play in the front bedroom or go outside? Grandpa just needs quiet. So you can assign the meaning that you want to anybody's words. If they say you're worthless, right? You can just look at them and realize that when they say you're worthless, put an I in replace of the your, and what they're really saying is I'm worthless. They're projecting on how they feel about themselves on you, because you know you're not worthless. You know you were born valuable as a woman. You know you're here to bring life. You know you're here to bring goodness. You know that you were specifically chosen with unique gifts that nobody else has in the entire world. There's only one you. And out of all the little spermies that had to fly to get to that egg, to get here through your mom and make you, and all the challenges that you've overcome, you are beautiful, unique, and talented to deliver only one way. And that's your way to be the greatest in the world at being you. And that you have the choice and you have the power to create the meaning of the words that anyone throws at you.
That's powerful.
That's first.
Yes.
Second, right? Ask yourself the power of the question. Remember, hook the mind. What do I want to assign as a meaning to these words? How can I assign a meaning to these words that brings out the best in me? He is I just said a guy, but like, let's say a guy was saying, you're worthless. Wow. He is my greatest chess player. He is throwing me off my game. I know I'm not worthless. Okay, bring it. Let him bring more condescending talk. Let him bring more words. They're not going to touch me. I realize I'm being prepared for something greater, because the more I'm trained in not being able to take what people say as personal and let it hurt me, the more ready I am for greater things, because leaders can take it and turn it and take it and turn it and use it to their advantage and channel themselves to be stronger, to lead more, to create more, to serve more, to inspire, to impact, to uplift. Yeah, bring those words. Haters be hating and I be taking it and turning it into love, right? Because where focus goes, energy flows, results show. And I'm focused on becoming the best me. So whatever anyone says to me, I use for my good.
You're awesome.
Yeah, I don't
You
even
are
know what to
so
say.
awesome.
This is really, really powerful.
It
And
is when we
it's
master
super.
it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's training every day in every way. We're getting better and better. And women, we don't do it alone. Like, look at us. We're all on this podcast. Thank God for technology, for Facebook, for all those ways to connect us, right?
Mm-hmm.
To share. We like your gift of choosing to start a podcast. Thank you for that. because we never know, just by trusting that prompting, where these words are going to land and what that person is going to do with their life.
And that's kind of what we figure for this show. If we just reach one person, we've done something, because we've made a change, a positive change in the world, and we've made somebody's life more brilliant. We've given them the opportunity and the ability to be who they truly are.
Yes. Find it, focus, follow through.
I love it.
Ask yourself, what do I want? And then focus on it, right? And who do you want it for? Don't want it for anybody else. Want it for you, right? To live your best life. You know, those hard things, those pains are your gains, and just give gratitude, because it's only temporary, but you're really understanding what it's like to live life through all the hards, through all the softs, through all the ups and downs, right? Thank God for them. Just thank life for them, because some people don't get to wake up to them today, right? At all.
Right. So the obstacles are grooming us.
Yes. Oh, that's a nice way to say it. Yeah, grooming.
That
training.
is good. Well said, Shelley.
Thank you. Amy, you are so inspiring. You've got me motivated here.
Me too. I just want to go out and run and do something.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I'm not going anywhere.
Amy, where do people reach out to you? Do you work with people virtually? Where can they look up some of your wonderful inspiration?
You're so sweet. Well, anywhere. AmyEmme.com is my website. So it's AmyEmme.com. And there you can book a call. We have courses coming up all the time. Wisdom conversion course. I'm getting ready to do a 5-day challenge. You girls should come on. It would be really fun. So we're going to do a 5-day challenge. I'm just going to show women like how to convert their wisdom into the business foundation that they can launch from. And that's free. And there's so many things that we do throughout the year. You know, I love, I'm going to have to put your show on there too, because I love being the place of resources for women. You know, there's no competition. There's only collaboration. We live in a totally new, beautiful world that, you know, there's more than enough. There's more than enough. And when we all share our resources and we share our gifts and our talents, because through women, we heal. And I was having this talk with a little young lady the other day about why would women ever fight over a man? Because and this is so crazy. I never understood that. I'm like, if a guy is dating 2 women and they're fighting over him, give me those girls. They're not valuing themselves, right? I was thinking, I'm like, see ya, bye-bye, dude. You know, and I never understood that. Like, why aren't they fighting for themselves? Right. And if I could have that mission, you know, to just show girls how beautiful they are, how, you know, there's so much more. If I could just hold the mirror into them, for them instantly to see what I see, like, the more I can do that, the quicker I can do that. That's what I want for my life, is like to help women collaborate and love on one another and build each other up and be accountability buddies. You know, not say like, hey, you want to go get drunk, but say, because I always tell my kids, that's not your friend that says, hey, let's go party. Your friend says, hey, let's create something great together. How can we leave our mark and build our legacy? What can we do in this world to make it better? Because, you know, we can't complain. That's why we were sent to make the change. So you have the only way you're my friend if you're like, okay, how are we going to be the difference? What are we going to do?
I love it. You're making such a wonderful difference, Amy. And
ditto, you guys.
Well, thank you. Thank you. That's a huge honor coming from you. Thank you very much. I wanted you to repeat your website again, because I know people are going to want to check you out.
Sure. It's my name, Amy, AMYEMME, AmyEmme.com. And you can Google me. It'll take you to my website, or join, you know, LinkedIn, Facebook, all those good places. But yeah, just my website. You can get a calendar, get on the calendar. Let's have some fun. Let's do some fun things, girls. Anything you got going on?
Sounds like a plan. I think you've gotten a lot of ladies motivated here.
You're so sweet.
Certainly got me motivated.
Yeah.
Well, good. Let's do it. I'm coming up. I'm going to ride your big machines. I want to just stand next to the wheel. You got to send me.
There you go, Kathy. You're going to have a passenger there.
Yeah. I want to report on. I mean, that's rocking, you girls. Well, you know, is there anything more fun than girls just getting together, being girls, right? It's so fun.
Oh, yeah.
It is. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Absolutely.
I'm here to help any way I can. You know, like I said, I always have courses helping women just get paid for their wisdom, get them free and financially free, and get their independence, and, helping women all over the world. It's my passion.
Well, this interview is definitely going to help a lot of ladies. Thank you so much
I
for
sure
being.
hope so.
Thank you so much for being on the show. This has been terrific, Emme.
The honor is mine. Thank you for the invite. And you ladies are fantastic. I feel so blessed to know you, and I look forward to what we do together.
That sounds terrific. I totally agree. Thank you, Emme.
Thank you.
We hope you've enjoyed this latest episode. And if you want to hear more episodes of Women Road Warriors or learn more about our show, be sure to check out womenroadwarriors.com. And please follow us on social media. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. On our website, we also have a selection of podcasts just for women. There are a series of podcasts from different podcasters. So if you're in the mood for women's podcasts, just click the Power Network tab on womenroadwarriors.com. You'll have a variety of shows to listen to anytime you want to. Podcasts made for women. Women Road Warriors is on all the major podcast channels like Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Audible, YouTube, and others. So check us out, and please follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro. If you want to be a guest on the show or have a topic or feedback, email us at sjohnson@womenroadwarriors.com.